Why not buying a house actually made me a millionaire. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. When I actually am a real estate investor and I started buying homes when I was in my mid 20s. When I was living in New York City, I started a low base salary sales job. And I started earning a lot of money because, as you can tell, this girl knows how to talk, and I was making a lot of money in sales. As I was making all this money in sales, I was rent hacking. So I was renting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I was living in the biggest room with my walk-in closet and my own private bathroom. It's basically like a mini apartment in an apartment. And I was having my roommates live in room 2 and room 3, and they're paying me rent, and I'm paying my landlord rent. And I did this for 10 years. On top of that, I also ended up getting another rent hack upstairs. Literally, I got rich off of rent hacking. So what happened? Because I was saving money on rent, and I was paying like very little rent, I was able to stack away all the income I was earning in my high sales job. Remember, I told you I'm in sales. So I was making over $215,000 when I was 25 years old, right? I was 25 years old, making over 200 grand. And I was taking all that money and I was investing into stocks. And then eventually I bought my first property in Prospect Lefferts Garden. And that was a condo. That was a 2-bedroom condo. I bought it for $340,000. That condo in 2 years, I sold it for $615,000. That allowed me to do my first 1031 exchange. 1031 exchange is a tax deferred strategy a lot of real estate investors talk about, and I can get into it in another video. But pretty much that's how I got my first bucket of big money. Was not only from my sales job, because that definitely was my first bucket of gold, but my second bucket of gold was from where I invested it. So because I was a renter, because I did not buy a home to live in and become house poor, because I was a renter paying like little to nothing on my rent, I was able to invest every single cent pretty much that I earned because my fixed costs were so damn low. Combine that with all of my frugality, how little money I spent on clothes, how little money I spent on haircuts, and never dyed my hair, never did anything expensive. Because of those reasons, all of my money I was able to sock away into investments, whether they were investment homes or whether they were stocks and eventually crypto, right? So this is how I got rich enough that by the time I was 28 years old, I didn't have to work anymore. I just was like, I don't have to work anymore. I made all my money. Like, I don't have to be someone's work bitch. No thanks. At that point, I got disenchanted with being a W-2 worker. I was like, I might as well just run this shit myself. And that's what I did. That's when I became my own boss, right? So that is why not buying a house to live in. So I should have clarified, not buying a primary home is what got me really rich in my 20s.